Greetings and welcome to the Stoic Gamer podcast. My name's Michael Bolton. In this podcast, I talk to players at all different levels of the hobby about their experience going to competitive events, whether it's their first time or whether they're a seasoned old timer like myself. I discuss the events we're going to, I discuss the events we've been to, and I talk about everything from army building, rules queries, happenings on the table to hotel disasters and culinary and gastronomic accidents, all part of the hobby and all part of visiting different parts of the country and the world as part of our fantastic 40k hobby. If you like this kind of content and you want to hear more, please let me know. If it's on YouTube, please just leave something in the comments. I'll always get back to you if I can. And if you're listening on any other kind of platform such as Spotify, do leave me a message. I can get back. Greetings, fellow Stoics. Michael Bolton, Stoic Gamer here, with an update of how things are going in Stoic land. There's a lot going on. There's too much going on. I'm so stoic that I'm paralyzed with fear of doing anything. It's paralysis by analysis at the moment. There are so many codexes, new rules, new missions, new armies I want to paint, all happening at the same time. If I'm not careful, I'm going to do nothing except worry about it rather than worry at it, as Churchill said. So I need to start doing something. And I'm sure that we're all a bit in the same place. So Chaos Space Marine Codex came out 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I still have it here in its cellophane wrappers. I daren't open it. If I open it, I shall be distracted from painting my orcs, which is what I want to do. Or when I get to paint these again. I don't know. I really don't know. But as I really haven't opened the codex yet, I'm not doing anything with that. The orcs, realistically, 6 months before I've got an army painted. I'm painting vigorously, but my vigorous painting isn't exactly rapid. So that's what we're doing at the moment. So at the moment, we are stuck with these fellas. Necrons. I'm going to be using my Necrons at the next few tournaments I'm going to. This fella, as he is a Doomstalker, which goes well in the Canoptic Court detachment, but I won't be using the Canoptic Court detachment. So what's happening next? The next thing for me is the Glasshammer GT Super Major in Birmingham in about 2 weeks' time, I think. Might be 2 weeks' time. And I've changed my Necron list from the ITT Hypercrypt detachment to the old Index one, which is now called the Awakened detachment. I don't think it's bad. I'm going to put it in there because I kind of like the things it does. It's got some great strats. It's like a toolbox of things. It can do a lot of stuff. It's got things that allow you to move things around. You can get up when you're dead. Always nice. There's all kinds of little things. You can re-roll hits. You can re-roll wounds. You can do a million different things with it. It's a nice little detachment. And so I'm going to try that at the Glasshammer GT. But, and here's the but, week before the Glasshammer GT, the new Pariah mission rules come into force. I'm pretty sure that Glasshammer will use them. So I really ought to know a little bit about what they do and if the changes that we know about at the moment are going to affect the armies. So I made a few notes. Bear with me and I'll tell you what they do. So I've gone through what Josh Roberts, friend of the channel, said on the Meta Watch for Games Workshop, and this is what I've come up with. So first things first, battle shocked units cannot carry out what used to be called actions, but these are things like cleanse or deploy teleport homers or investigate signal. If you're battle shocked in the future, can't be done. Is that an issue for me? Probably not too much. I haven't got a brilliant battle shock leadership number, but it's not that much of an issue. Second thing, units with 0 OC cannot carry out the same actions. Now, that's an issue for a lot of armies. Tyranids with their spore mines, that's going to be a problem. Necrons with scarabs, so they can no longer rush into the midfield and deploy teleport homers, or the Tyranids can't fire a spore mine 48 inches across the field to drop into your deployment zone and get an almost an easy 4 points. Ain't going to happen anymore. Now, for Necrons, of course, for the Necron players amongst us, there is a way to give your Scarabs 1 OC with the use of a command barge and its aura ability, but I'm not sure that'll be... I'm not certain there'll be enough in it to do that. What else? Oh, here's a good one. No. Now, previously, many units, including myself, used to give a unit an assault weapon so that they could advance, still be eligible to shoot, and therefore be able to do what we used to call actions in 8th edition. Now, you can't. Just because you've got an assault weapon and you're eligible to shoot does not mean that you can carry out an action. That's a real... That's an issue. That's an issue for me, and I'm sure that's an issue for a lot of armies who like to run onto an objective and get it. And more importantly for some armies is the next one, which is pistols. If you had pistols previously, you were eligible to shoot. So you could do an action, you could do cleanse, for example, while sitting on an objective, while you were being overwhelmed in close combat by the enemy. So I'll use Necrons as an example. Your Necron Wraiths with a Technomancer could jump on an objective. They've got pistols. They could be up to their necks in Tyranid gaunts or whatever you want, and still do the action because they've got pistols, so they were eligible to shoot. No longer. So I think that's a good thing. Will it affect Necrons and the Wraith build? I don't know. I don't use that Wraith build, so I'm not sure. But it's certainly an issue. What else? Armies with very expensive Titanic characters get around this. They've been given a get out of jail free card. So Titanic characters can shoot and carry out an action. I think that's reasonable. 400 or 500 points that can't do anything other than stand around is a bit odd. So I think they've seen through that, and I think that's a good thing. So that's not a problem. They are going to change some of the deployments. We know very little about this at the moment, as far as I can tell. I think there's been a couple being put online, but what Josh was saying is that they're only keeping one of the diagonal ones, which please be I think it's called Crucible of Battle. So it's from the center of my table to my left-hand opponent's corner edge. That makes sense. I'm hoping that there's some other good ones that are coming through. And the new ones are apparently going to be blocky. Now, my kids play Age of Sigmar, and they're all blocky. So there's a block, a sort of block and a step block going into the opponent's table that's somewhere else on the table. Yeah, they say it'll be easier to set up. I'm not sure. Setting up diagonals is not difficult. I don't, if somebody told them it was difficult, I don't think it was. But I understand why they're changing it, and that's fine. Okay, what else? What else have I got here written down? Can't read my own writing. Yes. Often at tournaments, you used the chilling rain option, which basically meant there was no mission rule. So you knew what your deployment was, and you knew what your secondary missions were, but you didn't know what your mission was. And this was things like hidden supplies and that kind of thing. Now Chilling Reign has gone, so the option to do nothing has gone away, and I suspect that will mean a lot of tournament organisers wanting to stay within the Games Workshop environment will probably use some of the ones that they're going to introduce. Now, I don't know what they're going to be, but doing nothing is unlikely to be one of them. So there'll always be something going on in each game, and I think that's a good thing. Biggie in terms of the mission rules is that Games Workshop are pushing battle line units to be more useful. We already know that you can score extra points by raising banners on objectives using battle line units. So there's already an opportunity to make a few points, and nobody knows how many points yet. But if it's half a dozen points in the course of a game, that might make a difference. And so they're already pushing players to using battle line units. Now, it's suggested some battle line units may be able to arrive on turn 1. Now, that could be quite big if you've got a decent battle line unit. Some of them might be able to advance and do actions, which we've just talked about. Other normal non-battle line units wouldn't be able to. So there may be a drive to use more battle line units to score points. And I'm pretty sure that some of the missions will only allow you to score points if you're battle line. So there's a lot going on here, and the Muslim hasn't been lifted from our eyes yet. We don't know exactly what they will be, but it'll all come out, I'm sure, through a few leaks in the next week or so. Then we'll know. Will it change people's armies? Will people start throwing lots more battle line units into their lists? Depends on how many points you can score with them, I suppose. It also depends, I think, on how good your battle line units are. If you're a Marine, then you have more battle line units you can take a stick at, and I suspect that they're going to be looking at the new rules going, oh, yeah, we can do something with this. Same, I suspect, with Chaos Marines, because it's kind of similar. I'm not familiar with anything else. I think Orcs have got some good battle line units. They've got boys and Beast Snagger boys. They're pretty good. Necrons, Immortals are great. Warriors are meh, I think. That's what the young people say nowadays. Meh. M-E-H, meh. So, although that could be 10 years old now, and that might be out of date. But whatever could be important. I think battle line is being pushed. There is going to be some interesting list builds coming up when the new Pariah Nexus missions come out. But equally, Games Workshop are launching the Pariah Nexus, and in order to, I think, tidy things up, they're also going to bring forward the next data slate update and MFM points updates so they coincide. So in 2 weeks' time, it's very likely that we will get new missions, new rules, updates, and new points for units. Now, if battle line are more important, will Games Workshop have put their prices up because they're critical, or will the points costs for battle line units go down? I don't know. Will they take the opportunity to internally balance some codexes? I look at Necrons, for example, and there's some units in there that no one ever uses, despite them being really nice. Things like Triarch Praetorians. They're fantastic. Jump infantry, pistols, sword. They look great. You never see them because they're way too expensive compared to everything else in the codex. What will they do with 0 OC units? Well, they go down in price because basically you can't do anything with them now except get in other people's way and move block, really. Or will they keep them the same? I don't know the answer to any of these things, but I think between now and the Glasshammer GT in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks time, there's going to be some frantic list rewriting, because I know that Glasshammer will use the new Pariah, and they'll probably use the new rules, and they'll definitely use the new points. So given all of that, it's highly likely that when I go to the Glasshammer GT at the end of June, I'll be taking an army that I have no idea how it works again. I'll have no idea what the missions are like, and I'll probably have played no games with the new mission packs. Excellent. Fantastic. So that's where we're at the moment. There's a lot going on. What else? Paralysis by analysis. How many hours have I spent flicking through the Games Workshop list builder or one of the other online ones that are available, building lists, worrying about them, discarding them, starting again, having another theme, a good idea, building something around a unit, and then going, that's not going to work. Hours. If I would have spent a quarter of the time I've spent looking at lists and staring at screens, doing something constructive like painting, or doing anything constructive at all, I would be so far ahead of myself. So what I've done with my orcs is I've got a list. I've written a list. It might be rubbish. Everything's changing all the time, but I don't care. I am going to paint the models in that list. And so I'm getting there. I've got some stuff in my cupboard at the moment. Gazgul's one of them. Here he is. He's a big lad. I haven't painted Makari yet, but I need to paint him. And that's going to happen. Am I painting any more Necrons? I'm trying not to until I get the new rules, the rules pack, the Pariah rules come out. And when I finish the podcast today, I'm going to be pre-ordering my set. Hooray! So I can know what on earth is going on. There's a lot happening. I'm looking forward to the new rules. I wasn't bored with the old ones. I still hadn't got to grips with how to win at the old Leviathan set. So I don't know why I'm excited. The only thing that can happen now is I get worse. It's unlikely I'm going to magically improve just because there's a new competition tournament pack. But who knows? So that's about it. I'm painting orcs. I'm taking Necrons Awakened Dynasty to the Glasshammer GT. I'm trying to focus on painting one list without getting overexcited and flying in different direction. I haven't opened my Chaos Marine codex, because if I do, I'll just get so distracted it'll be ridiculous. So that's sitting there until I've painted a few more of my orc units. What else? I promised you a couple of episodes ago that I would respond to Vic VJ's comment that I was being a bit passive aggressive about tournament players. I've recorded a podcast. I've recorded minutes of me going on about what I think are the problems with competitive play and how tournament play impacts on the game and how it perhaps drives the game in a direction that is not healthy. I'm sitting on that for a while because I think it's a kind of thing that I need to look at, because I don't want to upset anybody. And I equally don't want to let it go, because I think there's a debate to be had that if we're not careful, we will just skip over, because everybody sits here and listens and chats and takes on board what the experts and pundits say without actually engaging their brain quite a lot of the time. And although the experts and pundits are correct and in a lot of cases do a lot of work for us, so we don't have to worry about working out what lists are the best, because we can just use the lists or at least the concepts that some of the star players are using. I do think that if we're not careful, we'll just disengage our brains and start turning up to events on automatic pilot. But that's just one point. That's just one point. And I will try and get that out in the next couple of weeks after I've edited it a little bit. So I think that's about it. If you've liked me rambling on about my Crons, Orcs, my Chaos Space Marines, please do press the like, thumbs up button, subscribe, share. Let me know that you're here. Comment. If you comment, I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. In fact, I'll definitely get back to you. I'll be so thrilled to have somebody put something in the little boxes down below that I'll be thrilled. So thank you very much for listening. And next time I'll be talking about something else. I might show you some pictures of my beast snagger boys that I've been painting for Orcs. They're turning out okay. And I'll talk to you about my new painting technique that I've decided to use, which is, it's not slap chop, I think is what they were calling it. It's kind of like that. And it's no way going to win Golden Demon, because the whole point is to try and get it done reasonably quickly, but to a reasonably good tabletop standard. If you like that kind of thing, I might have a little video about that later. For those of you that have been, thank you for listening. And until I talk to you again, see you on the ice.